What's up, what's up, what's up? I know it's early today, but we're going to get started a little early today and see how long we can go. That is the plan. What's up, what's up? I know it's early today, but we're going to get started a little early today and see how long we can go. That is the plan. What's up, what's up? I know it's early today, but we're going to get started. Okay, so it's weird that my sound is echoing in my headset. I'm just testing my audio right now. Okay, I think we got it all sorted out. Anyway, we're doing this first video. It's from Swag Lab. Alright, we're going to start off with this first one here. We're starting out in the middle of the back roads here. And we got this guy in front of us. Let's see what happens. Right off into the dirt. Let's start back up again. We're here. Doesn't even look like they tried to turn. So he might have been staring at this SUV trying to see what they're doing. Oh, coffee. Alright. And he goes way off into the mountains. It actually might have been better that he dumped the bike, because who knows if there's a ditch beyond that hill. So it might have actually worked out better that he dumped it and didn't. Yeah, you can kind of see here it kind of goes off into like a small cliff at least. So it was probably good that he... Oh, and here in this next video... Alright, I gotta learn these controls better. Alright, so it looks like somebody's going the wrong direction. I can't discern who necessarily. It might have been the motorcycle, but I can't really tell. Either way, it looks like he's trying to swerve out of the way of this car, and the car is swerving in the same direction, which is why that happens. And like I said, I can't say for sure who's going the wrong direction. I suspect that it was the motorcycle in that one, but I can't be sure. Oh, that was just the intro. Okay. So we've analyzed the intro. Alright, so we're lane splitting in a high traffic area. Alright, come on, let's get to a real clip. Alright, so Florida. Florida man driving. I don't know if it's a man. So we got this Nissan here cutting us off because their lane ends, or they're just trying to avoid whatever traffic is coming. Yeah, so there was no need for them to move over, especially mid-intersection, which is illegal for them to do that. Merging while you're in an intersection is illegal. At least it is here. So there was no reason for them to make that lane change, especially in the intersection, and without a blinker. And the biker did the only thing he could do, which was slow down. Oh, he's just, I didn't see you, man. Just that typical argument, I didn't see you. They never do, but he's riding a giant banana. How do you not see a giant banana in the street? Alright, back roads, dirt bike. tight corners, not turning properly, wide turns when you don't need to. All right, let's see. So the dirt bike is obviously going way too fast, right? And he's making these crazy lane change turns to get around the slower traffic. And right here you've got this car that is clearly um, about to try to make a turn, at least clear to us because we're backseating this. But so you've got this guy or this person that's about to make a turn. The dirt bike is going way too fast to try to avoid because he's still swinging wide, but you can tell he's also leaning to try to go back into his proper lane to try to avoid what's about to happen, and he can't fully do it. Luckily, the car was paying attention and stopped and allowed the dirt bike to go around. That dirt bike has nobody to blame but himself for that situation. Alright, I'm not particularly a fan of dirt. Alright, what do we got here? Roundabouts in Europe. No traffic. You got one person on a scooter. They were obviously safe to go through their lane change. Alright, so let's see here. Everything good so far. There was no problems. Okay, that's dangerous. Okay, that was unnecessary. There was no issues, none whatsoever. The guy on the orange bike is just a giant dick. Besides, riding next to another biker like that for prolonged periods of time is dangerous. I mean, it's fine when you're at a stoplight or you're passing, obviously, but just to sit there next to him is dangerous. And especially to mess up their mirrors. Unless you know the person and you're just kind of clowning on them, this whole situation is dangerous. That was all that orange motorcyclist's fault, because it was a non-issue. Alright, roundabouts, ungeared, rear-ended. Yeah, he's lucky he didn't get thrown off. But I want to know what happened there. Wait. Okay, so let's... Alright, so he's on the wrong side of the road. Okay, so it's the motorcyclist's fault, because you have the do not enters here, and you can see how he's supposed to be going that way. Okay, so the motorcycle is at fault, 100%. That's what it looks like to me. Motorcyclist is at fault. Okay, so we all know motorcyclists stop faster than cars. This is a yellow light, as far as I can tell, and he is stopping. He should be going because there's cars behind him that cannot stop as fast as he can. So this I would place on the motorcycle. Oh, but he got him good, and the bike takes off. Wow, that's if it wasn't an accident, that would have been really, really funny. I mean, just to watch the motorcycle ride off on its own is kind of funny to me in general. But to see that is really funny. Alright, what do we got here? We got green lights, massive intersection, green arrows, red lights, which means the only people that should be going are these people that are turning this direction, us that is turning this direction, and this one person when the motorcycle is not going. Yep, I'm gonna blame the SUV 100%. Not that there was no issue because there were two lanes for traffic to turn into, So it was a non-issue, um, technically speaking, because there was multiple lanes for traffic to flow into. But had something happened and there was another car in the lane that does not end, I would have blamed the SUV 100%. All right. Okay, there is no need for this. The motorcycle is clearly passing the SUV, and the SUV is gonna block the lane and try to hit the motorcycle. That's attempted murder. Yeah. Anything he says is null and void because he tried to kill the motorcyclist. And it always victim blame. He I'll say this, if he'd have done that where I live, there is a better than 50% chance that he gets ended for driving like that. Alright, so we did this one accidentally at the intro because I didn't realize that was the intro. Alright, and I don't really feel like doing a double take. Oh, but he did hit the. That's a new camera angle. He did hit the SUV, and that's 100% on the motorcycle. Yes, you hit the car, dude. We watch parts fly off. I mean, it's amazing you're still in one piece, dude. That good on you. All right, something tells me this is a bicycle. We don't care about bicycles. It's always the bicyclist's fault. All right, this dude is going way too fast. Way too fast. Oh, that could have been way worse given that there's a downed tree and the size of the trees and the spikiness of branches on downed trees. All right, let's start this next clip over. All right, so in Europe, not that makes a difference. I just like to point it out. Um, so you got a Volvo is doing its thing properly, and you got this Peugeot that's just trying to force his way into this lane and nearly hits the Volvo. As the motorcyclist, slow down, let whatever shenanigans happen, and get out of the lane because you know something road ragey is about to happen. So I would, as the motorcyclist, I would get one, maybe two lanes over and get behind this box truck for a little while. But I would not want to be anywhere near what's about to happen here. Yep. See, get all the way over, get away from that, because that. All right. Something tells me this guy's gonna run from cops. We don't do that, and I'm not even gonna watch it because I don't support running from cops. All right. I'm curious as to what happened. I didn't see that he hit anything slick or wet or anything like that. Looks like he might have tried to hit the brakes while he was mid-turn or mid-lean, and that would cause you to lose traction and slide. So that might have been what happened. Why would you stop in the middle of an intersection? That bike is way too big for her. And I mean, given the size difference between the motorcycle and her, I mean, there's not much else she could have done about the situation other than, lean the other direction to get off. Alright, so we got a turn lane. At least this car's got his brakes on, but something tells me he's not going to want to turn. Got another bike behind us. Oh, I have no idea what this old lady's saying, but I am kind of curious, so let's back up a bit.
Now let's continue with the moment when the driver has a fit of rage on the road with two motorcyclists.
No, you almost wrecked.
No, I didn't.
You did. You almost went off the road.
It would be worth it to get you off my lot.
Ma'am, if you would have crashed, you could have hurt somebody else. It wasn't worth it. Ma'am, if you came off of the road and hit me, you could have hurt us. Ma'am, you know. It is not my fault if you try to hit me. If you hit me, it's on you. It is your fault.
So she tried to hit the and the old lady was victim blaming, like they do. Everybody just always blames the victim, it seems like, especially on the road. Alright, what do we got? Somebody, why do people do that? They think it's funny? Like, that's horrible. I hate people that do that. I've never personally seen it, but that causes accidents, and I'm pretty sure people do it on purpose. It is not cute and it's not funny. I'm not a fan of, lane splitting, but for that reason, or that being one of the reasons, but whether or not it's legal is irrelevant when you're deliberately putting somebody else's life in danger like that. The opening of doors on the highway will never not get me angry. Alright, what do we got? Okay, was he trying to see what all this was? Because this person just went straight into the guardrail and then realized it too late. At least properly geared, for the most part, it looks like. I think those were the same shoes I got. They're close. They're close to the same shoes I got. Alright. Riding through. PT Cruiser. Those things are horribly dangerous cars, and the people that drive them are just as dangerous. We're going to have words about this person not paying attention. No, I didn't see you at all. And she didn't even stop at the stoplight, or stop sign. She's going to say how it wasn't her fault that she wasn't paying attention. I hate people like that. Now, argue and victim blame all the time. I am a firm believer that as part of driver's ed and to get your actual driver's license, you need to at least go through the motorcycle safety course. Or at least take the road portion of it and ride a motorcycle for at least a weekend on a closed course, taking the lesson so you can see how hard it is and make everybody that takes driver's ed watch motorcycle crashes like this, so that way they see what they're doing and they see what happens. But that's just me. I think forcing drivers to go through some form of motorcycle education, so that way they'll be at the very least more cognizant of motorcycles on the road. But that's just my 2 cents on the matter. I don't think you should have a driver's license without at least doing some kind of motorcycle education. Alright, doing a decent thing. Because you notice it always seems to be the motorcyclists that do both the most dangerous and the most kind things for people and their other cars. Like picking stuff up, closing the gas caps. But then you also have a few that, run from cops, which I don't endorse. And yet everybody always gives motorcyclists crap. I'm pretty sure the only ones that I've seen that are dangerous to other people intentionally are the outlaw biker gangs. Everybody else just seems to be hooligans on street bikes. That's just, you know, what I've noticed as like an independent writer. And yet everybody always gets, all the motorcyclists always, you know, seem to catch flack for the indiscretions of other riders. Alright, we got this guy who's just, you know, not paying attention and pulls out in front, cuts over, and will probably hit this motorcycle. Oh, close. Good swerve. Good swerves. Oh, I'm not into dirt stuff, but I kind of want to watch how this is handled, because this looks like this looks difficult. Yeah. That's kind of to be expected, honestly. At least he wasn't going very fast, but he definitely does not have the tires for that. He's on a street bike on the dirt. I recently tried to take a shortcut through a dirt road on my 700-pound cruiser and found out that the dirt road dead-ended, and I went to hit the brakes, and because it's loose dirt, I slid for a good 30 feet before I actually came to a stop. And even then the back end started to kick around to the right, and I almost had to, like, I almost ended up dropping the bike, not putting it down on purpose, but it almost dropped on me. Luckily I was able to save it, but if you don't have the right tires, you shouldn't be on dirt. That's just my 2 cents worth. Alright. Dude, why? Also, why was the motorcycle like smack in the middle of the lane? Do not engage. I say this all the time. Don't engage if you weren't hit. You know, throw your hand gestures or whatever, but do not engage. They are in a heavier vehicle than you. These kind of videos just kind of make me smile, because it's something unexpected from people on motorcycles. You know, just drive around handing out flowers. And I imagine for other people it's a pleasant surprise. Alright, what do we got? Going around tight corners, going way too fast. Ooh, he plowed that dirt like he was a farmer. Jeez. At least he was fully geared. I wonder how many of those rocks he actually hit. That... I always wonder about that. Like, obviously in the moment you don't necessarily feel it, but I wonder, you know, when people go off into gravel like that, how many of the big rocks they actually hit. And when you see them come out completely fine and they're surrounded by giant boulders like that, you wonder how they managed to do that. Alright, what do we got here? Just kind of riding along. I didn't see anything from this clip that would warrant the motorcycle to act like this. So as far as I'm concerned, there's really not anything here. But he clearly seems to think that there clearly something happened, but we're just not privy to it. But judging from that, she nearly hit him from a lane change. Alright. On a track, which is where you're supposed to do these kinds of shenanigans. I mean, it was nice of him to pull off, but if you're like on a track day, why would you stop your run? They're supposed to have people for that. Alright, let's see. What do we got here? Alright, so we got an unmaintained road, probably loose pavement, obviously giant cracks all the way through, probably some potholes, especially right here you can kind of see one. I'm betting that biker hit it and ended up over his handle or off his bike. At least he was wearing a helmet and gloves. Looks like he's wearing a jacket. jeans, pants, probably. Oh no, definitely not. Not even a jacket. I was looking at the wrong guy. I was checking out the filmer's gear. The only thing that guy's wearing that's proper is a helmet. But he's just not properly geared. Alright. We are splitting. And the car is trying to cut the line, which he's not supposed to do. Hits the motorcycle, and somehow the motorcycle stayed upright. So, I mean, good on him for maintaining. Dirt stuff. Dude, that rocky path got worse and worse the more and more he rode on it. Like, is he just checking to see how far he could go? I wouldn't want to drive on those rocks, regardless of the gear, or the tires, or what kind of bike you're on. It just seems like a bad idea. Why does that dog remind me of a frickin' Pokemon? Oh, it's her dog, or she knows the dog. Okay. Alright. Dude, he was talking to that homeless guy, and that truck's almost hit him anyway. More kindness. You'd love to see it. And you can act... Honestly, when you're trying to do something nice for somebody, it's always nice to see that, you know, what you're doing is appreciated. Because you saw that last guy and this lady, when they were actually handed food, their eyes lit up. And I'm pretty sure I told this story before. I was at a In-N-Out in Las Vegas, and a homeless couple approached me asking for food, and I went inside and bought a couple of hamburgers, you know, with the extra couple of bucks that I had on me, and I brought it out to them, and they got like real upset, and they're like, we wanted combo meals. And I was like, well, if you're not going to eat it, then I will. And I took the burgers back, and I went home and I ate them the next day for lunch. Like, if you're going to, but honestly, if you're going to beg for food and somebody brings you some food, you should be thankful that they were actually willing to do the thing for you, not indignant that you didn't get the exact food you wanted. But it's always nice to see when you do something nice for somebody that it's actually appreciated. We're going to have an incident with the cops because you're on an e-bike. Alright, let's hear what's actually said by the cop.
Does that ride electric?
It's electric?
Yep.
Yeah, that's fine. So it's like an electric, kind of like an electric bike.
Pretty much. I figured it'd be fine since it's electric.
Where you living?
Right down the road.
Did you were you down there by the pond where like those old ladies were?
I went by there.
All right, later.
Thank you.
They cut so much of this out. That's disappointing. I was hoping there would be more. Alright. What do we got here? Construction zones. Lots of traffic. Lots of things to keep an eye out for. So you just gotta keep eyes out. Got this guy pulling out. I mean, I can't really see how fast the motorcyclist was going because of the dark sun visor here. So it's hard to say if this motorcycle is actually speeding. Given the nature of motorcycles, he probably is, but I can't say for how much. Or that I can't even say for 100% certainty that he actually is. But what I can say is this guy is pulling out prematurely for sure. However, the motorcyclist is far enough back that he could swerve out of the way one way or the other, or slow down enough for it to be a non-issue, realistically speaking. Dude, okay, I've said this 1,000 times at this point, do not turn around and engage, especially for a non-issue. The biggest issue is going on is this van is making lane changes without a turn signal. Oh, there is a turn signal. And then you get in front of her and cut her off. Dude, anything that happens is on you. What the hell? Yeah, that was all the motorcycles. It was not the van at all. It was a non-issue, like I said. Alright. We got no one was hurt, which means somebody slid. Oh no, there's a whole mess of accident going on up here. Wow, that's a bad accident. But it doesn't seem to be motorcycle related, so we move on. Not motorcycle related, we move on. Although that is pretty funny. I want to see. All right, we gotta listen to this. It sounds like it's gonna be pretty funny.
Come on, get out! But I didn't know it was you.
He said, "Oh man, I didn't know it was you." I think this might have been a skit. Either way, it's pretty funny to watch. Oh, he's just like, he got real scared real quick. I actually have one of these helmet covers. I have a Santa Claus one. It's about time I break it out here soon. Alright, let's see. What do we got going on? Or is it just him being completely goofy? Oh, somebody's dragging a construction cone. Alright, what do we got here? What do we got here? Red lights. So we stop. Oh. We got another being nice situation. And all before the light turned green. Alright, so the motorcycle was not paying attention and didn't stop in time, which is why he had to do an emergency swerve and still probably clip the bike, or clip the van. He might have brushed it with the mirror. Oh, you can almost tell that that guy was gonna want to beat the motorcyclist to death for clipping his precious Fiat if there were any damages to it. Like, you could tell just by the way that guy was flipping his hand around and the attitude that he was given physically. Alright, something tells me we're going to do something decent here. Yeah, but it's not really I mean, it's nice to watch, but not really what we're here for. This is what we want, not seriously injured. Okay, so given the sheer length of the motorcyclist's shadow, this car should have seen him, but also the sun is directly in this car's eyes, given the length of the shadow and the fact that that sun visor is down to try to protect the eyes. So you could argue that the car didn't see the motorcyclist, and the only thing as the motorcyclist that you can do at this point is slow down and swerve. And he slowed down and dropped. That is not what we're supposed to do. Dude, you can't park your bike there. And if the sun wasn't in the way, I would say that it was 100%. Well, not 100%, because the motorcyclist still had time to react. He just reacted poorly. So actually, I would place this as a lack of self-awareness and responsibility on the motorcyclist. Riding at night. We all know what to do about riding at night. Oh, tar snakes and no blinker on the lane change. Oh, we got a cop interaction. Let's listen.
My ID. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, they just changed.
Huh?
Unexpectedly encountering the police on the road while riding. The biker expressed surprise. Let's see what he said.
Oh, I've been living here for a while. I just did a job in Hawaii.
You know those solid white lines?
I was gone for like 4 months. No, I didn't know there were solid lines there.
Oh, okay.
I haven't been paying attention because you know how they've been shifting the freeway a lot.
Well, did you guys slow down?
Yeah, I know. My bad. It's just been a while. I'm sorry. I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Okay, so it was something to do about crossing over lines. I wish there would have been more to it because it really didn't get even a resolution out of that one either. Alright. Yeah, this is on the car. This is the car's fault. We had the right of way. This car did not. And it's always... Let me see if... I'm going to say it's the Prius's fault. I'm not even might even be a Yaris, but I'm pretty sure it's a Prius. It's always the Prius's fault when there's not a bicycle around. In this case, it actually is the car's fault. Okay, yeah, this is a lack of this is a self-responsibility issue. That was crazy, though. He went over... Alright, so they went over that grate, that drain, and it bounced them probably into the passenger seat at least, which is pretty crazy that they even managed to maintain it upright, having come out of the seat like that. It was pretty cool to see. And like I said, good on them for maintaining the without dropping it. And we got a no signal emergency lane change. Like I always say, a bad driver never misses their exit. And this is the case here. And this is why nobody likes taxi drivers. And I'm kind of wondering about the not the viability. I'm wondering about the viability of these robo-taxis because they can't drive any worse than a human taxi driver. But this is 100% on the taxi driver. I don't know that the motorcyclist would have had enough time to react and slow down. But yeah, that is definitely on the taxi driver. Alright, well at least they have a signal on, but they're not paying attention and checking their mirrors. Good on the motorcyclists for swerving out of the way and getting away. You don't want to be around it. People that drive like that. Alright. And that car that went around the wood pile almost hit the motorcycle just by the fact of trying to avoid the wood pile. Instead of, you know, stopping and helping, everybody just looks on in disgust of, you know, or how dare you slow down traffic without actually trying to help. Alright, this is a cool oh, he lost his camera. I'm always, not always worried about it, but it is something I think about sometimes. When I'm riding, that I'll lose my camera on the days that I actually remember to have it on. I hate getting stuck in the rain. It sucks. Nothing worse than getting stuck riding on a motorcycle in the rain from a driving perspective. Because I mean, if you're in a car and like you get a flat, then you can just sit in the car and wait for it to stop raining. And you can stay dry, but you can't really do that while you're on a motorcycle. If you're stuck on the side of the road, you're stuck on the side of the road and you are soaking wet with nothing to do but stand there and get wet. Alright, what do we got? Alright. So we got the side of this vehicle here. You can obviously see that it's pulling out from the gas station. This guy is not paying attention, regardless of which direction he's going, because you got this car coming out here, you got us moving here. So unless this car is going to move quickly into this lane that they're trying to get into, they're obviously going to cause a problem for at least the motorcycle rider. Luckily, the motorcycle was able to swerve out of the way, and that van was observant enough to stop and let the motorcycle make his maneuvers safely. Alright, track. I think I've seen this particular fence here, so I think this might be either Arizona or Nevada. Oh, this person is definitely scraping their bags. They are leaned over really far. And I don't get the purpose of these like clip-on whip things, because they don't do anything and they make you look stupid. And if you're hanging them from your brakes, if that gets caught anywhere, you are going over the handlebars without a doubt. Like if you're lane splitting and somebody doesn't like it, or you, as a motorcycle rider, cut somebody off, which does happen obviously, and like another motorcyclist comes up beside you and yanks on that rope, you are going to eat the pavement. So I just wouldn't have these for a whole lot of reasons, the least of which you look stupid for having it. Alright. Oh, and they blurred out the whole thing. Yeah, that's about what I expected to happen. Ooh. Random dog attack. Wild dogs have appeared. Okay, wildlife in the middle of nowhere. Not even wildlife, those are somebody's pets. Like, where did they come from? They literally came out of nowhere. That's pretty wild. Alright, we got lane splitting, maybe? Nope. Alright, what happened? What happened? You lock up his brakes, and the rear lost traction maybe, and he went for a slide? That's why you wear gear. This dude is wearing, that person is wearing zero gear, except maybe a helmet. So their arms are gonna look like ground beef. Alright. I don't know why you would ride this thing on a busy road like that. Those things are like so underpowered. They're dangerous. I mean, they're fun, but I don't know that I would ride them on what appears to be a highway. But, you know, doing the decent thing, getting the road hazards out of the way for other people. But there's no way I would be riding that thing, a Honda Monkey, on a highway like that. Did he go down? Oh, somebody had an accident. That dude just groped that lady. Whoa. That was crazy. That was a crazy accident. You didn't even see a vehicle. It was just parts. Alright. Got a dirt bike on the road. Gotta go around. The dirt bike is clearly speeding. And he's going way too fast for the turn, and he hits the wall. That's karma. That is karmic. Kinda deserved it for driving that fast, dude. When you shouldn't be. I mean, luckily, luckily nothing happened to him, but like if you're gonna drive like an idiot, stuff is gonna happen. All right. Round turns, nice easy flows, not paying attention, and that car locked up their, like, stopped suddenly. So, I mean, it caused all kinds of things. He was trying to get home, obviously, but like nearly caused a 3-vehicle incident. And this motorcycle is driving way too fast and hit those cones. Like, it's, wait, did he have a, oh, okay, so that he had a windshield which went flying off and nearly hit the motorcyclist in the head because he decided to try to go way too fast for the road conditions, which is heavy traffic, and end up into this construction zone, which is what you're not supposed to do. Alright, so not seriously injured, so let's see what happens. Unsignaled lane change, probably realizes that he's trying to make this turn and realize he's in completely wrong lane because he was busy observing the ocean. And cuts off the motorcycle. The only thing, and he braked way too late. That motorcyclist braked way too late. Obviously speeds would have had something to do with the reaction times, but that's on the, I would say that's mostly on the truck in that situation. Alright, in a turn lane, lights yellow, about to turn red. This car is clearly stopped, but he's past the line. And what is going on? Oh, gas cap. I was expecting something bad, and it just turned out to be something fairly decent. I'll be honest, I expected that van to back over the motorcycle, to be honest. Alright. Is this guy like tailgating and cutting off this motorcycle? What? Like, I didn't see any reason for any previous interaction. Other than he's a moped, and this car didn't like, oh, and he punched him. That's Texas, but he doesn't have a, what the heck? Okay, we gotta start this over. That was just too wild. Alright, I want to hear everything.
It occurred when the driver intentionally accelerated to overtake the biker. The driver's subsequent actions will surprise you.
Call 911. Hey, what? Get your...
What is important now is to stay calm and resolve the issue sensibly to avoid any further danger.
No, that's assault and attempted murder. Absolutely call 911, make a police report. A dude tried to hit you with a car and physically attacked you. I would call that attempted murder and 2 counts of assault because he attacked you twice. Once he punched you in the face and once he like did a flying kick. Alright, we got another motorcycle accident, and we're starting out in the middle of the incident. Oh, here comes Mr. Drift, way too fast, and nearly hits this Tesla. Alright, what do we got here? On the nice beach. I mean, at least the signal was on. He saw the signal. The motorcycle could have slowed down or sped up to avoid this potential situation. So, I mean, he was far enough back he could have slowed down and it would have been a non-issue. Realistically, that is a lot of sand. So, I mean, it could have been a non-issue if the motorcycle had just either sped up or slowed down. but good on the car for at least realizing that the motorcycle was there. Running from cops. We're not doing that. Oh, this is, alright. Yeah, this seems to happen a lot. People not paying attention in corners and just end up on the side of the road. So, I mean, there's nothing really to say. This video started with the guy already on the side of the road, so there's not really anything to comment on necessarily, other than the guy that ended up on the side of the road was not wearing any gear at all, other than a helmet. He lost his shoe. That's why you need to wear the proper footwear while riding. Alright, so I'm going to bet that this little white car is going way too fast for the road. Realizes he needs to avoid probably hitting the red car that's stalled on the side of the road. Tries to make a lane change, but he does it in the middle of a blind turn, and now he's in the oncoming traffic about to hit this motorcycle head on. But he swerves over back into his proper lane in time, so he avoids an incident. But like, that's pretty crazy that somebody would be driving like that through those sharp corners. So coming up on intersections, you always need to be aware of especially four ways, because cars can literally come from any direction. In this case, it's the opposite side turn lane, which clearly does not have a green arrow, because we have a green light, and the opposing green arrow cannot be green if our light is green. So the only thing you can really do here is slow down and let this dude make his stupid turn, or speed up and swerve out of the way. But do not just maintain, because you could end up in an accident, especially if the other person's not paying attention at all. Alright, we've got some off-road stuff. Alright, more running from cops, don't care. Lane splitting. This guy's doing it on purpose. He's deliberately trying to force the motorcycle into a lane. And the laws of weight do take effect, but you can always just kind of squeeze through when he stops, because he does have to maintain a lane. Oh, he is burning oil. He is burning oil. Oh no, he lost his tires coming undone. Maybe? I can't tell what happened. Oh, his license plate was digging his tire. His license plate fell off and was gouging his tire. Alright. I would not be doing this over the crest of a hill in general, but that Kia knew what they were doing. They deliberately did that. Alright, so that biker was not paying attention, because he definitely didn't stop in time, was not paying attention to the car in front of him, so he was just kind of zoned out and listening to music or whatever, and he ended up rearing in. So always, like I said, always pay attention, so that way you don't end up rear-ending some other car. Alright, at this point I'm going to go make myself another cup of coffee, and I'll be back and we'll continue with the next video. Alrighty. I'm just getting the next video queued up. Alright. Alright, there's another one from Swag Lab. Oh, wait, is this... Did we already watch this one? Yeah, I think we watched this one last night. Alright. Not from Swag Lab. Next one is Moto Stars. I apologize. Starting off with a dirt bike on the road. Lots of these like small sideways. This looks to be a residential area and a very narrow road. And this appears to be a blind corner or a blind curve because it looks like it kicks to the right and then back to the left again. So we can't see what's beyond here or what's over here. So there might be another house over here or another driveway over here with a car just waiting to pop out. And that is exactly the case. Although I think we've seen this one before too. Yeah, we've seen this one already. What about this one? Oh yeah, we watched that one already because the stuff flies off and hits the dude. Alright, let's do some video hunting. Let's just go to MotoStars and see what they've got. Alright, let's do this one. Every crashes every new motor rider or motorcycle rider should see. Riding in the rain, always dangerous. Not something I would choose to do, but it does happen from time to time, whether you want to or not. And it is almost always the reason for whatever the crash. And now this dude's got his bike trapped on his leg. Luckily, a nice huge dude is there to help. But yeah, I would never deliberately ride in the rain. I mean, you can do a lot of things to try to, you know, ride for the road conditions and stuff like that. But there's always going to be the element that your tires are going to lose traction due to the wetness. All right, let's start this clip over again and see if we can determine why this dude ended up with those crazy wobbles. It's not really, honestly, if it was just that one bit, I would almost have thought that that was on purpose because he was just trying to be one of those like bicycle hooligans. But I didn't see any reason why he ended up with those crazy wobbles there. There could have been a divot in the road that we just didn't see. Something mechanically could have happened to the bike. But there's not really any... Or maybe he was trying to just be silly and ended up losing the traction. That could have happened too. But there's not really a set reason why I could see that would have happened. More death wobbles. Alright, let's see. The road seems to be fairly not well maintained. You got these cracks in the road here. They're leaned over really far. So he could have was trying to stand the bike up and was caught in a rut with the crack, and that could have sent the front tire into like the wobble. Man, they slid really far. I mean, it looked like he was fairly well geared up, so I mean the injuries would have been minimal, I would imagine. But yeah, that was crazy wobbles. All right, grooves, cracks in the road. Ooh, giant, whatever the heck that was. Dirt mound? Bag of cement? Hard to tell. Definitely uneven roads, given the way that the fact that that road looks like it was put in slabs. But I didn't see what that was necessarily, but it definitely was the cause of the accident. Alright, here we got a three-way stop, or a three-way intersection. One person's supposed to stop. I'm going to bet that, given the traffic that's here, I'm going to bet that this truck is going to pull out in front of us in an inopportune moment. But you can see that from the wheels here, from the side of this truck, that he is trying to get into this lane here, and he's going to wait for these cars to pass, but then by then we'll be here and the motorcyclist is not going to have enough time. So what I would do here, given what I can see in this video, as the motorcycle rider, I would probably either slow down so that this truck can do its thing, given that we already know what's going to happen. Oh, I was completely wrong. I thought for sure this truck was going to pull out. I don't mind being wrong, but this changes what I would have done. A little. I still would have, slowed down. But instead, in this situation, I would have swerved out of the way. Or just come to a complete stop, because you can't really tell if there's other traffic behind this car in this particular instance. But definitely hard on the brakes. Oh, jeez. Holy crap. That was wild. Alright, said crash incoming. Does that mean we're going to end up with a... probably loose gravel. I saw what looked like to be gravel on the road, but I expected a car. You do kind of have to look through the turns, but if it's on the road like that, it's kind of hard to tell. Alright, so there's the tree shadows are in the way, but there might be something there. This right here is what I was talking about, this dark spot. So that might be a loose gravel or a dip in the road. But I'm gonna bet that right here is probably the on the surface of the road issue. Also, there's this gravel here, so there might have been some loose stuff scattered throughout here. And also, this guy has leaned over really far. And this actually... Alright, so... I don't know what this P means. Probably a learner, maybe? Some kind of indicator. I know other countries do the learner indicator stickers and magnets on their cars. It's not really a thing here. At least as far as I know. Things might have changed since I took driver's ed. Alright. Always smart to have a camera. So this right here, always a good idea. I have a bad habit of forgetting mine. Alright, so we're stopped. Okay. I'm gonna bet that he's gonna give him a bit of a lecture on paying attention. He did kind of pull out in front of that guy. Yep, right there. He pulled out in front. I missed that at first. So he did pull out in front of the car. He slowed
Here
down.
we've got a
and let the
nicer
guy
change. The rider reacts in a really friendly way to a small mistake made by the driver.
Hey, mate. Mate, I'm not going to tell you off or anything, right? You're obviously a new driver, but you're going to kill a biker. Just be careful when you're coming on a slip road, boys. Yeah, just to prove there's no hard feelings. By the time you've eaten them, you'll feel a lot
Give him
better.
a treat.
Drive safe, mate. Take your time. Take your time.
I don't know if he was being friendly or if he was just twisting the knife with those treats. Honestly. Alright. Dude, just move on. Oh, he might be learning a manual. Oh, did he kill switch himself? Alright, what do we got here? I'm gonna bet that one of these cars are gonna... Alright, so they're... Alright. Let's back up a bit. Here we go. Alright, so this truck... I don't see any headlights on for this truck. But he's clearly not paying attention to the traffic around him. And he's pulled out in front of these two motorcyclists, and this poor guy in the front is probably going to eat the side of this truck. Oh, yep, definitely ate the side of the truck. Oh, he does have headlights on. I didn't see him. But when you're able to see the trucks are pulling out in front of you, especially at night, just assume that they can't see you. Ride like you're invisible, and like slow down when you start to see other vehicles doing things that they really wouldn't be doing necessarily in broad daylight, or if they had actually seen you. So I would have slowed down the minute I saw that truck moving. But I mean, it is 100% the truck's fault. I think he just said he busted his nuts from that. Alright, we're on a track. Why would you drag your feet like that? Okay, I want to see what happened. Oh, he hit the wall and now he's off the one side of the bike. I mean, cool that they were able to keep the bike upright, but I think I would have just let go, personally. Alright. Let's back up a bit. Alright, coming up on a high traffic area, you know, downtown kind of thing. You can already see from here that this car is already pulling out, so already this guy should be on the brakes and slowing down. And I don't think he did that, because that happens. And no gear at all, just a helmet. Probably, and he lost his shoes. Lost his shoes. Well, that's about the most homemade remedy for a camera situation I've ever seen. Everything is duct taped. But I guess if it works, it's not stupid. Even though it looks like you're about to try to impale somebody, like you're going jousting. Oh, they hit a wet patch for sure and lost it. Or nearly lost it. Alright, why? Okay. There's nobody around him. Okay, he's in this lane, good. Why is he going back into that lane and he nearly clips that car? And he hits the back of the Land Rover. Like, at what point, like, does he think that, you know, driving like that is okay? Like, no, always stay in your lane, folks. Unless it's clear to change those lanes. But this is 100% the motorcyclist's fault for riding like that. You're speeding, changing lanes like that when you didn't need to. Okay, so he's waving to another bike, but at no point should that have caused you to go into the other lane, unless you just weren't paying attention. Got lucky with that first car and then just ate the bumper of that Land Rover. Alright, let's start this one over. Alright. For this one, always pay attention at intersections. This guy is clearly already out in the middle, so he started a ways back. As the motorcycle rider, you needed to have slowed down and swerved to the right, just so you can avoid this, because you can't necessarily go to the left because there's oncoming traffic and we can't see what's on the other side of this intersection, so there might be other cars here, you know, that have already gone through, and you don't want to hit those guys either. And you still swerve to the right. You swerved the wrong direction, dude. Other than the fact that the car was in the middle of the intersection, it's all on you. 100%. Nice swerves. Good swerves. Bad turn. Way too fast. Okay. I get the appeal of trying to drive a little challenging in back roads and hills and mountains and stuff. So I get it, but you can't do that unless you're the only car on your side of the road. Because as you come out of turns, you never know what's on the other side, and you end up in this situation. So ideally, what should happen is this car slows down, so this Audi, or I think it's an Audi, can get back into the lane before the motorcycle gets, you know, within kissing distance. Also, the motorcycle needs to slow down as well to also give that extra time distance situation as much as possible, so to also avoid a potential situation. Also, swerving is good. However, you did too much. Like right there's all you needed to do. At this point, you can correct back because the danger has already passed. But I think they were obviously shaken and unable to course correct and ended up into the woods here. Luckily, they're on a dirt bike, so it should have been easier to control, but they ate a bush, so that makes it a little more difficult. Oh, all right. Continuing on. We're starting in slow-mo. All right, so there was already an incident. Somebody probably not enough lean, going too fast, target fixation. One or all three of those probably happened. I can't read that. High traffic, this is California. Probably LA, where it is legal to split. So he was so, okay, so in this situation, everything seems fine. Traffic's moving slow enough that you can just kind of, swerve out of the way to avoid stop traffic. But this guy here, too worried about this car and not paying attention to the car in front of him. Honestly, what you should have done is just, lane split a little bit, turn on a blinker, and hopefully somebody lets you over. But he is too focused on this car and not focused on the car in front of him, and he ends up eating it like that. So always be aware of your surroundings. If there's a car behind you that's concerning you, and lane splitting is okay, like it is in California, just lane split for a little bit until you find the next safe area to change lanes into where you need to go. All right, 152 kilometers an hour seems a bit fast to me, regardless of the road. Small roads, way too fast. There was no incident, it's just guys showing off. Alright, we got intersections with red lights. This car is stopped on the crosswalk. This guy is going. He just straight up was just like, the heck with it. And this guy too. Oh, so wait, the lights were green? They looked red. Oh, they were yellow. Oh, and he was running red. So he was running red. The lights were yellow. So it's on this guy. But also, yellow does not mean hurry up and speed through. It means if you can stop, you should stop because the light's about to turn red. And nobody is doing that. When the motorcycle definitely could, and it would have avoided any potential further future issues in that intersection. I don't know why he's making finger guns at that car. The car is his own problem. And completely unrelated to the bike. Alright, what do we got here? I'm not seeing anything. Oh, this car is about to merge over with no turn signal. This goes back again, like I said, you need to pay attention to your surroundings. As this car comes over, as the motorcyclist, what you need to be doing is slowing down and or swerving into the lane over. From what I can tell from this guy's mirrors, it's perfectly fine to just change lanes. So I would just change lanes and keep on with the speed. Not maintaining this lane while this person is literally not paying attention. And I get I understand the urge to manually readjust somebody's mirrors, but that is not the time for it. Just move over and it won't be an issue. Like since it's clear to merge, just merge and it's a non-issue. Because if they hit you, you're going down because their vehicle weighs more than yours. And I believe it's the law of gross tonnage. They outweigh you by 5 or 6 times. Yes, she should have paid attention. But also, you needed to have paid attention and moved over or slowed down or both. Alrighty. Alright, here we go. Next one. Dirt in the road. Lots of dirt. So here we have a truck that has moved lanes. Alright, so 106 kilometers an hour seems a bit fast. I would have immediately slowed down the minute I saw this, which you can kind of see here he kind of did. He's on the brakes already, but because he was going so fast, I don't think that there's enough brake power on this bike for him to stop in time. And I don't know how far he managed to get ahead of this truck that was over here, but I would have immediately also just zipped over. But I don't think that that's going to happen. I don't think he's going to stop in time. Nope, he eats it, but just barely. I thought that was going to be so much worse. Luckily, it wasn't as bad as I thought. Alright, so we got roundabouts and going the wrong way in a roundabout. And I wouldn't move. I would not move. Because they clearly see you because they stopped. And they're obviously they're going to try and bully because they're in a heavier vehicle. But no, do not move. I wouldn't, personally. Alright. Beaches always seem to be super crowded. Right here. In like every video, every beachfront road, it just seems super crowded in some form or fashion. So you got this guy who's pulling out, not paying attention. Us moving along. He realized it too late. He realized it. Alright. So, I mean, it was a non-issue, but it could have been if that guy had continued on what he was doing. Alright, we got a tight turn. I mean, the motorcycle is maintaining his lane like you're supposed to. It does obviously appear that there is a car that is not paying attention and gets in the outside lane because he's trying to take the corner extra fast, because that's what you need to do if you want to take a corner quick. The problem is other vehicles use that road, so don't do that. Wait, did that guy just kick his leg out? Alright, so tight lane, loose dirt. Oh, he was pointing at the loose dirt. And that is a reducing radius tightening turn, and you almost lost it. Alright, so that guy's not paying attention. More people not paying attention. Out of the way, Prius. It's always a Prius. Alright. Alright. Ooh. That would have concerned me too. That would have made me super concerned. Alright, what do we got? You could argue that this black car did not see the motorcycle behind the van, but at the same time, now that the van has turned, this car can see the motorcycle, and he should have just stopped there. Yeah, that's that car's fault. And all you can really do is shake your head. I mean, it was a non-issue, but it could have been because he wasn't paying attention. And now you got this guy who's also not paying attention. Nissan Leaf. I wouldn't move. I would not move. I would force him to go back. You had the right of way. They clearly saw you. I wouldn't move. Riding at night, you guys, everybody knows how I feel about riding at night. It's not a good idea. I missed that entirely because I. All right. Okay. Let's see. 100 miles an hour at night, not a good idea. Got the death wobbles a little bit. All right. Oh, that was not intentional. Uh, would have been kind of funny if that was on purpose, but it was definitely not. Like if they were just deliberately jumping their bikes, I mean it's a little huge. It would have been far funnier, like I said, if it had been on purpose. But I mean it's disheartening to see your bike just in the water like that. All right. You don't really see what happened, just you see that this guy's bike is in pieces. I'm guessing he was either hit or something. Alright, let's do insane motorcycle crashing moments. I didn't have any other videos pulled up ahead of time, so let's do this one. Going way too fast. The road is not well maintained, nor is it really used all that much, it looks like. Way too fast for the turn, especially if you got every one of them going way too fast. This guy had to put his foot out to keep from falling. This guy's not turning hard enough and he's going way too fast, and he's going to end up in this ditch. Alright, what do we got going on here? Traffic. Alright, so like I said, you always got to be careful of backed up traffic like this, because especially the folks that let cars through like this, they're just going to take advantage of it because they're not going to see anything coming from either direction, and it's always going to cause an accident. Well, not always, but I would say probably 8 out of 10 times it's going to cause an accident somewhere in these other lanes. The only thing you can do really in this situation is slow down and swerve. Luckily, there's no cars over here in the immediate vicinity. You know, they're up here, and you're still a ways back. So you could, speed up, swerve, go around, or try to slow down in time, which you're not going to do. So the safest thing really to do is speed up and swerve around. Because maintaining your speed and not swerving causes accidents. Always be aware of tar snakes in the road, especially in the corners, and always watch your speed. That actually did look like a gnarly crash. So, oh no, lost. Okay, lost a wheel. Where did it come from? Oh, it came from this guy. He straight lost a wheel. And there's a good chance, just in general, that this could be the last thing you see. Because you got a giant semi over here, you got this bald tire in front of you, and there's nothing you can do to avoid it. You could have done something here, maybe. Right here, because you can see it. You could slow down and move in behind this truck, but if you're, paying attention to the other vehicles on the road that are immediately close to you because you don't want them to swerve over and hit you, there is a good chance, there is a possibility that you could miss it, but we have the advantage in that not being the case. So, being that we can see this, I would slow down and swerve over, preferably behind the truck, because the truck is going to be able to take the most damage, and it takes the longest to slow down to a stop, giving you more time to stop as well. But that's what I would do. I would move over behind this truck, maybe. Now that I look, you can kind of see down here in this mirror. Oh, I'm in the way. But in this rear view mirror here, where that's behind me, there is a car. So maybe I wouldn't swerve that direction. I might move over the other direction because we know that there's a car beside us. So if we slow down and swerve over behind that guy to the left, we'll still avoid this tire. But as we know, that is not what happens. I'm just concerned that there's a chance that this guy ended up underneath the truck, but that doesn't appear to be the case. So he got lucky. That would have been my fear, that I hit that tire and I end up under the truck, and that bald tire is the last thing I would have seen. All right, we're back in the woods again for this one. All right. Going too fast, I'm just going to call it here. Yeah, see, too fast. Okay. That was pretty gnarly. All right, so too fast, possibly looking at these trees. I mean, there's any number of a handful of things that could have gone here, but I'm guessing that they either didn't lean hard enough to make the turn, or they were going too fast. Those are my guesses, and they ended up hitting the guardrail. Luckily, the guardrail was there because I mean, you can tell that this is a cliff on the other side of it. And it looks like that person bounced off of it, and that was pretty gnarly. Like, you can see the front wheel actually got stuck under the guardrail, and they took a tumble, and luckily they were fully geared. A lot of times you see stuff like this, and they're wearing no gear except maybe a helmet. Alright, got a third party rolling up. Yeah, that's crazy. I would almost want to take that part of the bike home and, mount it in the garage and, kind of use it as a story time conversation piece. But you're not getting it out that easy. You'd have to get it out from that side. No, finish pulling it through. Don't kick it back through. Just pull it up the rest of the way under the grate. That would be easier. That's wild to see. Honestly, that's pretty crazy. But yeah, that's why it's important to, pay attention to your surroundings and actually, make sure you're going the proper speeds and you lean far enough for your turns. Otherwise, stuff like that happens. And always pay attention to your surroundings, but don't get focused on it. This guy's going way too fast, and he's looking at that tree, and he's going down a cliff. Okay, I kind of wanted to see the rest of that, but I understand for the sake of YouTube they can't show it. But I imagine him and the bike went down that cliff. That's just my guess, though. Alright. That was pretty bad camera angles. You couldn't really see what was going on there. But I'm guessing he wasn't leaning over far enough, and his front tire went off the edge. I mean, honestly, that's not bad advice. Always have your bike towed after a spill. You may have a concussion, you might have broken something like suspension or brakes and not realize it immediately. Leaking fluids, no turn signals, you name it. Yes, anytime that you go down, any number of things could happen to your motorcycle. It is a good idea to tow it. I agree 100%. That's good advice. Also, it's the same thing if you get hit. Always, make a police report and always report it to your insurance, because just because you can't see anything broken, that doesn't mean anything isn't, as far as like on your bike. All right, let's see. All right, too fast for the turns. I'm already going to call it. I can't see how fast, but I can see how high that needle is on the rev limiter. Yep. And he was just not paying attention. He was focused on something that was not the road. And he looks like he hit gravel, maybe, but either way, he was not turning sharp enough. All right, we got back roads here. Honestly, that looks like a beautiful road to ride down. Some dark patches, so that could have been stuff on the road. All right, the motorcyclist is not on their proper side of the road. Immediately slow down. This guy, 112 miles an hour. That is way too fast. I'm just assuming miles per hour. And even if it's kilometers an hour in this kind of road, it is too fast. Because to make your turns, you have to be overly exaggerated. And if he was going the proper speed, he could stay over here and stay out of danger. That's 100% on the motorcyclist. I mean, good on him for being able to maintaining uprightness as long as he did. All right. I think we saw this one already. My mic went out. I think my microphone, I think it just auto powers off after so much time, even though I'm using it. So I got to look into turning off the auto sleep function at some point. Anyhow, I think we saw this one already. Yeah, we saw this one already. All right, sun's in our eyes. Immediately makes visibility worse, but not so bad that you can't see anything. Like, he completely missed the fact that there was a guardrail there. Like, everybody else was able to see it. This person was not. So there could have been other factors like the dirty visor, but he definitely went off onto that like 2-inch shoulder and lost it. Not proper gear. Regular jeans, but at least he had skid pads on his knees. Improper shoes. Did he have anything else? Improper shoes, improper footwear. He had a jacket on, probably gloves. Yeah, gloves too, I think. Yep, gloved. All right. So the only thing he had wrong was shoes and pants, but I don't ride with proper riding pants, but I do wear proper shoes. Pants are probably the only thing I don't ride with, and I probably should. Death wobbles. Given the nature of this road and how cracked it is, constantly and poorly maintained, I would say that the road was probably the cause of the wobbles. Oh boy, this is it. Oh, this. I know I have a good idea how this is going to end. They're going way too fast. 120. That's way too fast. And then you got this guy who just kind of pulled up out of nowhere as well, because they can't see you because of this cliff. Which is why it's important to go the proper speed limit so you can slow down in time. But these guys are going way too fast. And there's dirt on the road. So that's all kinds of problems. Alright. So we get the slow down version. This guy didn't even try to avoid. He just carried on. So that's on him, honestly, for not paying attention and not trying to avoid the situation. Alright, what do we got here? We got a wreck already in progress. Do not, okay, if you come up on a scene, do not move the person. Leave them there. You know, I mean, make sure they're alive, but don't move them. Do not move them. Do not touch them. Beyond, you know, touching them, make sure they're conscious and alive. But definitely call 911. Beyond that, yeah, block traffic. So good on that car. Somebody needs to go on the other side and block traffic. Oh, they're not blocking traffic. They're the reason for the crash. I thought they were doing the decent human thing and, you know, were blocking traffic. But I wondered why I didn't see a motorcycle. It's because it's literally attached to the other side of the car that is blocking the traffic. So I mean, silver lining, not that there is much of one, but the scene of the accident is blocking the injured person from becoming further injured by somebody running them over. Without having any kind of real context, it just from the scene from the cars, it looks like the car was trying to pull a U-turn, and because they did it an illegal U-turn, it ended up that the bike T-boned the car that was pulling the illegal U-turn. So that is 100% on that car's fault. Okay, we know he's alive. Don't touch him. Do not touch him. See, this is all stuff I already said. Block traffic. Call 911. Do not move or remove him or the person or the helmet. The only things I left out were, you know, try to keep them calm and awake. But I did say make sure they were awake and alive. Apply the visible pressure to bleeding if possible, if there is any. And, you know, block off other traffic and warn them that there's something ahead. I mean, yeah, that's just, you know, being a decent person, because you don't want to leave a heavily injured person in the rain if it's raining. That's just mean. But this is most of the stuff is stuff I had already covered before it even popped up. Alright. Don't even try to remove the car, because the cops are going to want to take pictures of the scene. Just leave everything as is until cops get there. Alright, we've covered these kinds of videos several times, but yeah, that guy's... Wait, what was that? What was that? That would... Okay, where did that come from? That, like, shooting spark. Oh, from this bike that's filming. Okay, so this guy in front that's filming was dragging hard parts and sparking. That just looked crazy. um, this guy was probably focused probably on the sparks, or was just going way too fast and lost it. And he lost his bike down the side of the mountain. At least he didn't go down with it. I would not try to recover that. I would call a tow truck and make them pull it up, because that's just going to be too heavy and too difficult to try to get back up the hill. Alright, riding at night. I was going to say, please come to a full and complete stop. But it looked like that worked against the biker because he got rear-ended. Which, you know, further proves my point that, you know, motorcyclists are invisible, especially, doubly so at night. Alright, this looks like a decent road. Looks like some, might be something on the road. What was this person focused on? Because they were not focused on the turn. They are going 90 miles an hour, though. And definitely was not paying attention to the turn in any capacity whatsoever to even try to turn. And he ended... Oh my goodness. He was righting a road. You mean riding the road too fast. And target fixated. Yeah, that's kind of what that was going to be my second thought. He was just not paying attention to even try to turn, or he was focused on something else. That is amazing that he did not eat all that dirt. That was spectacular balance and focus after the fact. Okay, so this guy was not paying attention, and it's clearly red, but I mean, he's going way too fast, and he's clearly not going to stop in time anyway. So at that point, I would have just gone. That would have been the safest thing to do, is just run it. Because if you try to stop too hard, too fast, that's what's going to happen, is you're going to eat it. And in this situation, I think I'd rather eat the ticket rather than eat pavement. However, wherever this is, I don't know how much the tickets are, but it can't be more than, you know, your insurance deductible. But yes, always, you know, make sure that when you see an accident happen, especially if it's another motorcycle, make sure they're okay first before you go and right the bike. Or if there's multiple people, somebody check on the person, and then somebody else check on the bike. That dude is out of it. Make him sit down. Do not let him stand up like that. Alright, too focused on the cars, not focusing on the dirt in the road, and not turning. That was target fixation. Alright, well, nice. What? How did you do that? You go, you know, do a nice turn here, but then like just not pay attention to the next one. Let's see if we can get any more. Hi there, Baby T65. I don't have Discord. But I do appreciate you following. But like I said, I don't have a Discord that I can really add people to. But like I said, thanks for the follow. I do appreciate it. Alright, what do we got here? Oh, he jumped. He went way too fast over that hill. Just too fast in general. Ends up in the forest. I'm amazed he didn't drop it. I'm amazed it didn't drop. So, I mean, that was pretty cool. Is that an e-bike? I think that might be an e-bike. Or not. It just kind of looked like it. But yeah, that was a pretty crazy incident. Like I said, I'm amazed he didn't drop it. Alright, it says crash in 15 seconds. Let's see what happens. And then we'll see what we could have done to avoid it. Okay, so there was a bunch of stuff in the road here. I don't think he was focused on the turn. I think he was focused on the stuff in the road and just wasn't paying attention and ended up in the grass. That's what I think happened. That dude is that dude was completely barefoot. Okay, so nobody's just nobody wearing gear at all. Flip-flops here, no gloves, improper jacket. At least they're wearing a helmet, and you can tell that because they got a camera strapped to their face. And it's the same with this person over here. Flip-flops maybe. No pants. You know, he got basketball shorts on. No jacket, no gloves. It was just asking for an accident to happen. He driving like that through the road. This is just all kinds of stupid. And you're going 140. I'm guessing that's kilometers an hour, but still. Yeah. You hit gravel and divots in the road, cracks in the road, and you end up with the wobbles. And because your feet are in the improper place, you end up eating it, and your whole body now looks like hamburger meat. Congratulations. The fact that he was able to they were even able to stand up after the fact is amazing. Honestly. Alright, we've got green lights here, red lights over here, red lights over here. Alright. Speaking of motorcycles, my neighbor across the street just started his up. Kind of makes me want to go for a ride. A little bit. Alright, lane splitting, or just cutting people off and then just not paying attention. And you rear end the truck in front of you. It's completely the biker's fault there. Tight turns, too fast. Hit gravel. Alright, this road is not well maintained at all, and you got rear-ended at a stop sign. This is also true even on short rides. Wearing the right gear is really important because you can always be rear-ended. That is true. Alright, let's see what we got going on here. And he was smacked pretty good, honestly. 140. Yeah, this guy was going way too fast for the turns. Ended up just like that. Alright, and we're gonna probably call it here, honestly. Yeah, it was completely that guy's fault. And like I said, I'm going to call stream here. I do appreciate those that came out, and thanks for the follow earlier. Babay T, I appreciate it. Y'all be good to each other and enjoy the rest of your weekend.